Hey guys, Zach here, and today I want to take you guys along with me and show you how I made this awesome rocky paludarium behind me. Now before we get into it, if you would consider subscribing, it does greatly help out the channel. And with that out of the way, let's get into it. So with this tank, I've only gotten the most basics of basics done on it. I've just laid out kind of the structure of where I want the waterfall to be, and that's really it. I put this window film on the back just to make it black, and I've laid out the structure, and that's it. That's all I've done, just to get it prepped into a stage where now it is workable. So what I want to do is just get this waterfall done and laid out and in sort of a working order. So to start the hardscape, I just get a rough idea of where I want the water to flow, and I just rough out the top part of the scape. Then once I'm happy with how it's looking, I will start to lock them in with spray foam. This does two things. The first is just lock it into place and make sure it's not going to move. The other is fill the gaps behind the rocks so that the water does flow over the rocks instead of just falling down behind. With the top sort of done, I move on to the bottom and I foam in rocks as I stack them up. In between each, I have to wait about 15 minutes, but it's well worth it, and doing this just makes it so that the waterfall is very, very stable. And with that all done, I get a final product. So you guys did see me build up this hardscape, and it was tedious, but it's definitely worth it. I love the way that this turned out. It looks really great, and I love the way that this waterfall piece is. I think it looks phenomenal. And you can see that I've added in these two front panels. This one is mostly gravel. This one's just a big piece of this slate stone. And the transition areas are quite rough right now, just from here to here and from here to here. Right? It's very harsh on the eye. I just am not happy with how the transition looks. However, I just need to touch up these edges, and I think the hardscape is approaching almost complete, and I'm super happy with how it turned out. I just need to work on some of the finer, smaller details, even just inside the stones underneath, just filling those in with spray foam, or getting even these transition areas cleaned up a little bit, and then I can do a nice little water test on this. Now, before I do anything else, I just want to get the water feature more or less complete in this scape. So all I'm going to do is just add in a substrate, and that's going to be some topsoil in like a little fabric bag that's going to go kind of in the back end, maybe around the foreground, and then just a sand layer to cap it off, and I think that will look really good. In the sand, I'm also going to mix in a little bit of this, which is just bedding, and it'll look really nice, and it'll look like chunks of rock have fallen in to the sand bed. Now I've got the substrate in. As you can see, I've scattered some small slate stone all along the bottom here, and that is just gonna add a little bit of detail to the scape, right? I want to have it highly concentrated over here right by the waterfall, and then I want it to get less concentrated over here, as if when it comes off, all of the little rocks that come off the waterfall all gather in this one spot, and only a couple get blown sort of further away. But with that done, I want to address the waterfall itself. You can see that just all along here, there's yellow spray foam that you can see, and it's quite ugly to look at. So what I want to do is just cover it up, and to do that, I'm just going to use some moss and cover it up with moss and super glue, and it'll look really good. So let's get that done. I do want to touch up a couple other areas now that the moss is done. Right here, you can see this little transition that's not very ugly, and it just goes back into that void where the filter is, as well as over here. This is completely open. You can see the white egg crate that I used as the skeleton, and I just want to cover those up. So I've got this rock in front that's covering over here. I think I'm going to use probably like a piece of wood or something over here, and I'm gonna try and use wood here as well. So let me get some pieces and try and make them work. Now with this mostly done, I would say like it's 90% of the way there. I want to just fill this up, get the water up to a decent level. I think I had it like here before, and just see how the water runs. So let me get this filled. My goal with this water test was just to see how the water flowed over the rocks and see if I had to make any major adjustments to the layout or anything like that. And as you guys can see, it really looks quite good, and I didn't have to make any major adjustments. To keep this tank really simple, I only used one plant species in the actual water piece. 1 week later, and this tank is really looking quite phenomenal. It has quickly become one of my favorite scapes, mostly due to this awesome waterfall. And the water featured the stargrass that you saw earlier is starting to grow in, and if I keep on top of maintenance, I'll be able to get a nice carpet in the water area. As for inhabitants in this tank, right now all I have in here is just a couple of ram's horn snails. However, their population is starting to grow. They love all of these surfaces, and they can graze pretty much anywhere in the tank that's underwater, and they seem to really be at home in this tank. With all that said, that is everything for this video. If you guys have enjoyed, please consider subscribing, and if you guys have any recommendations for what I should keep in here, please leave them down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.